Hey folks, this is Kalani. The Dragonflight pre-patch is in full swing, and it's been full speed ahead in terms of news so far this week. We have a huge round of class buffs and nerfs to look at, with some classes receiving a whopping 25% nerf across their entire damage profile. That's not going to feel great. We have more information about how certain pre-patch events and rewards are going to work, like the Twitch drops available later in November, which have caused a massive tidal wave of craziness due to an incredibly rare mount being one of the very easy to obtain rewards. That mount is also worth $3,500. I'll explain how and why, and Blizzard are basically giving it away for free. And then there's also a new kind of subscription offer. You've heard about 3-month subs, maybe even the 6-month subs, but how do you feel about a 12-month sub? Well, Blizzard went ahead and did it anyway, so let's see what goodies they're offering up to entice folks to drop an entire year's worth of sub money all at once. There's a lot to break down, so let's get to it. Before we jump in, be sure to hit up that like button and subscribe so you never miss another video. Let's kick things off with the class nerfs and buffs. I know you're all on the edge of your seat waiting to see if your new main just got whacked with a nerf bat. Spoiler alert if you're a shaman. We're going to go in alphabetical order as per usual, and remember, if your class isn't here, that's just because it didn't get any changes this week. Demon Hunters will see a few nerfs to their Havoc spec. Chaos Strike damage was taken down again, First Blood damage bonus was reduced, Inner Demon damage was reduced by 25%, but a bug was fixed which was preventing Inner Demon from scaling properly. For Feral Druids, Brutal Slash is now usable in bear form and replaces Swipe while in bear form. It doesn't generate combo points or cost energy, but at least you can still use that talent in bear form if you really want to. Hunters have seen a few nerfs. To start with, Beast Mastery had a very powerful talent, War Orders, that reset the cooldown of kill command whenever you used Barbed Shot. That talent was nerfed by 50%, so it's now 25% or 50% chance to reset, down from 50% or 100% chance to reset. That's definitely not ideal, as quite a few Beast Mastery builds focused on that reset mechanic specifically. And then there was also a change to how Leech worked with healing your pets, which is a self-sustained nerf overall, but probably quite small. For Marksmanship, a bug was fixed where Chimera Shot was double dipping on the Lethal Shots talent, and then Aimed Shot had its damage reduced by 15%, which is a pretty nasty nerf with how much of their damage relies on Aimed Shot. And then we come to the Windwalker Monks, who probably aren't going to be too happy. Nerfs, nerfs, and more nerfs. Fist of Fury, Rising Sun Kick, Blackout Kick, and Storm Earth and Fire have all been nerfed, quite badly in some cases. There are also a whole bunch of reductions for talents and passives, and in every case, it's another nerf. I guess Windwalkers were doing a bit too well for Blizzard's liking, so this should bring them down quite a few notches. There's another class in today's roundup with a whole bunch of nerfs too, and it's gonna be the Priests. Some general talents were nerfed, Crystalline Reflection down to 6% and 12% from 10% and 20%, but Mind Games saw some hefty nerfs, 25% damage reduction for Shadow and Holy, but a 50% damage reduction for Discipline. That's gonna hurt. Speaking of hurt, Disc has been nerfed in a bunch of other ways. Atonement won't last as long from Radiance, but Radiance healing increased. Ultimate Radiance was nerfed, Evangelism was nerfed into the ground, and then Light's Wrath was also knocked down a few pegs. So less Atonement spreading, less Atonement extension, and less damage. Definitely not a great round of changes. Holy isn't too far behind the nerf wagon though, almost everything they have was reduced by 5%. Holy Priests were doing pretty well for themselves in Dragonflight so far, so these nerfs aren't altogether unexpected, and a 5% nerf across the board isn't too bad. It definitely could have been worse. Now on the flip side, Shadow is seeing a whole bunch of buffs. Almost every ability or source of damage that they have has been buffed up by 10%. Just read down the list, the entire thing is increased by 10%. So a nice little buff for the DPS side of Priest, but nerfs all around for the healing side. Rogues are also making this week's list again. I swear they've already had a lot of buffs, but here we are again. Straight damage buffs to a lot of Assassination Rogues abilities, as well as Subtleties abilities. So it looks like those two Rogue specs should do quite a bit better as we head into Dragonflight. And then we come to the Shamans. It's good news and bad news. On the elemental side of things, good news! Almost a 10% straight damage increase to most of their abilities, so that's going to feel great. What isn't going to feel great is the very simple, very short 25% damage nerf to all of Enhancement Shaman's abilities. They didn't even list them out like the other specs, that's how you know it's a bad nerf. 25% straight off the top of everything. That's gonna hurt. And then the last class in this roundup are the Warlocks. Affliction saw some bug fixes and some minor nerfs. Demonology saw some massive damage increases, 25% on Implosion, 20% on Bile Scourge Bombers, 35% on Hand of Gul'dan. The list goes on. Damage increases to various talents and passives, range increases, and even another round of buffs for the Pit Lord and the Demonic Tyrant, so that's going to be very shiny. And then Destruction comes in at the end with some very minor buffs to increase the duration of some of their special abilities. Now, all of these changes went live with the weekly resets, so these should be in the game at this point from what I understand. So if you aren't doing quite as well as you were last week, well, now you know why. Hopefully these nerfs are being put in place with zero emphasis on the current end of season and only with Dragonflight in mind. Bear that in mind as well. You might not do too well right now, but you might scale really well towards the end of Dragonflight. Balancing for the end of Shadowlands makes zero sense to me. The only thing that matters at this point is how each class performs at max level in Dragonflight with all those bits and pieces that go along with it. So hopefully the dev team agrees with that, and that's why we're seeing these balance changes. Speaking of Dragonflight, these aren't the only class changes this week. There are also some changes on the Dragonflight beta, which means they won't be seen on live servers right away, but they are still changes that we should expect to see go live over the next few weeks. The largest changes are for Guardian Druid, Evoker, and Warriors. Guardian Druids had their tree moved around quite a bit, which they have been asking for a while now. Hopefully these changes help with pathing and specific talent combos. They also saw some big damage buffs, as well as buffs to various passives and talents. Evokers had some minor adjustments to racials and PvP talents, as well as a 40% damage increase to Deep Breath in PvP, which is going to be interesting. On top of that, they got a 30% increase to Pyre damage, the Volatility talent was buffed up quite a bit, and the Eye of Affinity talent was changed to Generate Essence instead of Provide Essence Burst. For the Warriors, they saw a lot of interesting tweaks to how abilities work to provide certain benefits or effects. A lot of bug fixes and under the hood kind of stuff by the looks of things, with some buffs thrown in for good measure. There are a lot of changes here which don't necessarily look that important, but getting your abilities to work properly and interact how they should will make the class feel much better overall. But that's all of the class changes for this week so far. I imagine we will see more balance tuning as we get closer to Dragonflight's launch, and then the first few weeks of Dragonflight will be a roller coaster for sure, so stay tuned for more buffs and nerfs. The next big piece of news seems to be quite controversial. If you watched our most recent video, there was a section near the end where I talked about Twitch drops, and this being a pretty big deal because WoW hasn't really ever had any major Twitch drops before. Quite a few people were asking what Twitch drops are. It's very simple. Certain streamers have drops enabled on their channel. If you watch their channel for a specific amount of time and connect your Battle.net account to your Twitch account, you unlock the drop and can redeem it in-game. So essentially, you get goodies for watching some WoW streams. Simple. We know from the roadmap that we're going to have 3 rounds of Twitch drops, so the only question left was, what are the drops? And now we know, and I'm actually kind of surprised. So the first drop is available from November 15th to November 17th. If you watch 4 hours of a WoW stream during that time, you'll earn the Dragon Kite pet. Pretty cool, though you do only have a 2-day window to get those watch hours in. The second round of drops is available from November 28th to November 30th. If you watch 4 hours during that window, you'll get the Fell Drake mount. This is the one that's causing all the controversy, but there's one more drop available. The last round of drops is available from December 13th to December 28th. If you watch 2 hours during that time frame, you can get the Perpetual Purple Firework toy. So that sounds fun, and it's the easiest one to get. Now there is kind of a bonus reward in here as well. Between November 28th and December 12th, if you gift specific WoW Twitch channels 2 subscriptions, you can also get the Ichabod Harvest Golem pet. 2 gift subs would set you back about $10 if I remember correctly, so that's actually about in line with the typical price of a new pet, but instead of the money going to Blizzard, some of it will go to those creators and streamers and some of it will go to Twitch. I think these rewards are actually really cool, and they're way more impactful and valuable than what I thought we would see in a round of Twitch drops. I was thinking maybe a title or 2, maybe a pet at a push, but not only are we getting the Dragon Kite pet, which is awesome and rare by itself, but we're also getting the Fell Drake mount. If you don't know why this is such a big deal, the Fell Drake mount was only available through the now discontinued WoW trading card game. There are quite a few of these rewards. The most recognizable is probably the Spectral Tiger mounts. Those are significantly more expensive, but the Feldrake itself was actually worth about $3,500. You can't get these cards anymore. They are highly collectible, which makes the in-game reward, the Feldrake, also highly collectible and incredibly rare. But now you can get it for free, just by watching a few hours of World of Warcraft on Twitch. That's kind of insane, and I actually love this idea. This might be one of the best hype-driving, viewer-pushing events the dev team has ever come up with. The sheer number of viewers that will flock to World of Warcraft streams simply because of these rewards will be staggering. That's good for the creators, that's good for the game, and I think having WoW up there on the Twitch viewer count for the launch of Dragonflight will be a really good look. And then it's also very rewarding for the players. You don't have to spend any money to get any of these things, besides that odd gift pet at the end. You get a rare pet, a very rare mount, though I guess it won't be anymore, as well as a fun purple firework toy. These are the kinds of events I wish the dev team ran more often, but as I said, it's quite controversial. So what's your take on the Twitch drops? Is it a good idea to reward something as valuable as the Feldrake in this way? And should they do the same thing with other rare unobtainable mounts? Let me know what you think in the comments below. And then the last thing in this video that I wanted to talk about is even more free mounts and goodies. Well, kind of free. You do have to fork over an entire year's worth of subscription money all at once to unlock them, which is a good chunk of change. I'm kind of surprised they went for this. We now have the option, a limited time option apparently, of purchasing an entire year's worth, 12 months of a WoW subscription. That will set you back about $156 and works out to be about $13 per month instead of $15 per month. So you are technically saving about $24 over the entire year, as Blizzard likes to remind you on the purchase page. That's a lot of money to throw down on a game you might not be playing for the entire year. So what kind of shiny stuff is on offer if you jump in the deep end with this crazy long subscription? If you purchase a 12-month sub for World of Warcraft, you can earn yourself the Gargantuan Gurlock ground mount, as well as the Telex the Stormhorn flying mount in retail WoW. The Gargantuan Gurlock is a massive murloc. There isn't really much else to say. It looks like it uses the Yeti skeleton, so expect similar running animations and stuff, but the mount special is quite different. You play fishing with your own giant murloc. That doesn't seem entirely safe, but sure, I'll roll with it. And then Telex the Stormhorn is a huge beetle, which actually looks really cool. This is a flying mount, so the little wings do pop out of its butt and you get to see the glowing blue behind. The colours work really well, and all in all, this is a fantastic looking mount. And then you also get the Festering Emerald Drake mount for Classic WoW, so there's even something in here if you aren't actively playing retail right now. And then there's also a 6-month deal going on with the Nether Gorged Great Worm mount for retail WoW and the Tabard of Flame for WoW Classic. You'll also get both of those rewards with a 12-month sub, so there's even more added on here. And then in addition to all of that, you will also automatically unlock the next 6th-month sub bonus, which is around the Lunar event, so expect another mount along those lines, so you kind of lock in that future reward as well, even though we have no idea what it's going to be. Now, as to whether or not this is good value or worthwhile or the right option for you, it's going to depend on how long you see yourself playing WoW. It's the same arguments, it's a 6-month sub, it's just double the initial cost, which does make it very expensive up front. But if you play for the entire year and would pay your sub the entire time, it does actually save you money long term. That's why we always have a 6-month sub active and why we'll get the 12-month sub on both of our accounts. It saves us money long term and we get some shiny stuff, but let's be real. This is our job. We're not going to unsub to WoW anytime soon, and we know that for sure, so this is an easy decision for us. The other major factor is the annoying problem of nobody having a crystal ball. Dragonflight looks really fun and it will probably be a fantastic expansion at launch, but how long that lasts will depend almost entirely on the patch and update cadence, and a year is a long time. That's half of the expansion's lifespan if they stick to the 2-year expansion releases. The game could be incredible at launch, but if we don't see a major update for 7 months in, like what happened with Shadowlands, it's just going to fall apart again. I think Shadowlands would have probably been received quite differently if we had faster patches overall, so looking ahead 12 months is not easy. The game could do incredibly well, or it could grind to a halt again. That's the gamble that you're going to be making with this sub purchase. I really hope they don't make the same mistake, and the complete lack of borrowed power systems hopefully makes patch development much easier and faster, so I'll put my money on Dragonflight doing well. But maybe that's just me being hopeful. Whether you want to lock yourself into a 12-month sub is completely up to you, but you do get some cool and unique rewards if you make that leap. But that's all the news I have for you in this video. How do you feel about a 12-month subscription? Is it worth the gamble on Dragonflight being a good expansion? And what do you think of the Twitch Drops reward? Should Blizzard bring back other rare rewards in a similar way, or should those things stay rare to preserve their value? Leave all your thoughts in the comment section below. A big thank you to all of our supporters over on Patreon and to all of our members here on YouTube. You can see their names floating by on screen. If you'd like to add your name to the end of every video with a special shout out at the start of the next video, you can find links in the description over to Patreon or click the join button just below this video. And if you want to see more videos like this, make sure to subscribe and ring that notification bell so you never miss another video. Thanks for watching, folks. Good luck and have fun, and as always, I'll see you next time.